Hello, everybody. How are you today? Welcome to another episode of Lee and Me. I am Camille Miller, the founder of the Natural Life Business Partnership, a global network for soul-centered entrepreneurs. And my co-host today, Lee Grabarczyk, Soulful Mandelas out of Long Valley, New Jersey. Hi, Lee.
Hello, Camille.
We are going to talk today about acceptance and agreements. That's going to be a
Yes,
hot topic. You want to start us off?
sure. So, one of the things that, when I'm having a difficult time with somebody, and maybe we have a different point of view or a severe different point of view, it becomes really important to not get caught up in something that I know is not going to be able to resolve in the sense that they're going to continue to maintain their point of view.
Mhm.
They'll maintain a different point of view. So I accept that that is their point of view. I
Okay.
think one of the greatest challenges is that if I don't accept something as it is, what I've done is I've created resistance in the relationship that I have with them. If I don't accept something within myself, I have created resistance between myself and what it is that I say that I want. So acceptance is simply the realization of what is true in that moment. Acceptance is different than agreement in that I can accept that something is true, that is, I can accept that someone feels a certain way or does a certain thing, whatever. But that doesn't mean I agree with it.
Yeah. Well,
And,
that's good.
and
That shows up a lot in our political environment today.
yes, of
Going through
course,
my
yes.
daily Facebook feed, I see that.
I had
And I have tons of friends that I.
I have there was a guy that I was talking to last week, and he was very animate about how he felt politically, and he didn't understand why his friends, didn't feel the same way. And I said to him, I said, well, why are you attached to trying to make them change their mind?
That's the difference.
Why are you trying to convince them, or are you trying to convince yourself? Because when we get into a kind of a questioning about our own, so if I, let's just say that I'm vacillating in my particular point of view,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, well then I'm going to try and find other people who support my idea. Because and there's a
Confirmation bias.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
a phrase,
Absolutely.
there's none so zealous as the newly converted. which I love that. So if I am confident in what it is that I believe to be true, if I really feel that that is what works for me, then that is enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
I don't need to have other people okay that. I don't have to have somebody put their stamp of approval on it. And if I do, then I have given that person my power, and I've said to them, well, I'm not really valuable here, but if you say so, then okay, then I'm all right. Well, why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
So, and if I get caught up in the conflict of it, if I get caught up in the battle of it, then all I'm going to do is sharpen their skills and sharpen our disagreement and sharpen the kind of the dividing line between in our relationship. And then I'm just going to be fostering more and more of that kind of strife. And why would I want that? If
Yeah.
I accept that that's how they are and that's where they're coming from and that's what's going on, it's done. I don't have to think about it anymore. It could be, an acceptance could be so many things. It could be getting older. It could be something like debt. It could be some kind of other thing that maybe is a challenge. But when there's energy on a thing, in other words, if I am caught up in some kind of like internal judgment about it, where I am judging it and I want to fix it, and well, yeah, I may want to change it, but if I have my first step in doing so is accepting it.
Yeah. I totally agree. And I learned so I learned this in my divorce to just not engage, because when you take
Yeah.
away someone's power by not engaging,
Yes.
right, or you're giving away your own power sometimes by engaging,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, and I feel that everything is so fueled right now, like, and different um viewpoints about everything that's going on in the world. I mean,
Sure.
from COVID to politics, from like everything.
Name it.
I think it's much easier and much smarter to not engage and just kind of sit back. Like I try to watch all of the news channels and all sides of an issue so I can understand
Right.
it from a different level and know that the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's not all left or all right. It's like somewhere in there. But that's with any issues, even with family. Like I've learned, you don't engage if someone doesn't agree with you. And I think by fueling the fire and arguing,
Mm-hmm.
you're never going to convince that person otherwise.
Absolutely.
Like I feel people just argue their point blindly at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think we're kind of like in this crazy place, and they can only see it from their point of view. That's
Yeah.
it. And I feel people are more argumentative today, especially like on social media, than they are having an educated discussion about anything.
Yeah.
So it's so much easier just to kind of cut that energy and just go, you be you, I'll be me. We'll see how it all plays out. I'm kind of in this place of just seeing how it all plays out.
There's in the social media context, the social media is benefited heavily and actually works to create this because of the economics of it. That is, create conflict because then they're guaranteed to have an increased amount of airtime, commercials, more and more energy, if you would. So it is in their interest to spark a certain amount of controversy because then they're going to get these people playing against one another, etc. And that is going to continue to escalate. And then that escalation then plays out to different kinds of other, additional forms of communication. And then they get a little bit, they benefit because then you're going to get more people online doing what they do and, bringing programming in to make their point. So, and also when it comes to disagreement, it's easy to get played by somebody. So let's say, for example, I'm like disagreeing with somebody and they intentionally do something to trigger me. Maybe they're very proud of that.
Yeah.
There are people who are proud of that. So when I do this, then I'm playing into their hand because then I respond a certain way and they say, I told you. You're such a reactive person.
Yeah, I agree.
Really don't have your wits about you. You sad, reactive, overly emotional, sensitive being. I have my authority and my wits about me, and I keep my composure, but you just flurry around and spin like a top.
Yeah.
So I don't get caught up in it. What I can say to somebody is that I don't know why you continue to bring this up. Or
that's actually a good line. I have to remember that one. That is very good.
They continue to bring this up. I can also say to them, why don't we just agree to disagree?
Yeah, that one I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So I feel like people like the conflict. They like to, talk about their side of the issue. Or what was new?
Yes. And part of that is because, again, that they're not accepting themselves.
Yeah, it's like the victim mentality.
It is victim mentality of sorts, I think. Yeah, because what they're doing is they're saying, I'm not feeling enough, need to defend this out here, which ties me to it, that then justifies my own existence because they have more airtime, stage presence, whatever, than I do. So they're my advocate. So I'm going to support them and make them the person. And I'm going to put all my energy into that because I don't feel like I have enough worth.
Yeah.
And then that person is the perfect cannon fodder to somebody who wants to manipulate others. Because I can exploit if I want to. If I wanted to really kind of get into some demagoguery about this and like some kind of like, have my sycophants, I could literally seek out or find out people who feel inadequate and say, I'll show you how it's done. I will pave the way to freedom and independence. Well, okay, that's fine. But, then if I get tethered to that, if I haven't really looked at myself, my own personal responsibility, or looked at my own capabilities, or maybe I just haven't accepted the fact that maybe I feel inadequate, or maybe I haven't the right education, or maybe I don't have enough money or whatever. But I need to have that happen first. So that it's like an inventory. I do, before you go and spend money on something, you make sure you have enough money in the bank, right? Before you do anything in life, we do inventories and understand where it is that I happen to be with things so that I can then move forward honestly about what it is that I'm lacking so that I can then address it in a capable way. And if I'm not accepting that, if I'm not accepting the reality of that, I can't really move on it. Because what's happening is that the thing that I say that I'm doing is out of sync with where I happen to be, which could be exhausting supplies or running on things I don't have, and then not have them when I need them to create this thing. So I have to be honest about my particular skill sets, or where it is that where I am, where my strengths happen to be, so then I can then address them. I can say, well, you know what, I'm really not good with money, so I'm going to get a money person to help me. Or maybe I'm not really good with my nutrition, I'm going to get a nutrition person to help me. Or I just, address it however I can. Maybe I don't have any money at all, I'm just going to look at it through online services, maybe find out something for that. But there's no way to move on something if I'm not accepting it. And if I'm not accepting it, it puts me at risk of falling into some kind of dogma that then assuages my own kinds of feeling states by attaching myself to them as a way of having them represent what it is that I'm not willing to do for myself. And by doing so, then it becomes very, very visceral. And the reason is because now my sense of personal survival has now been connected to their success. Because I have chosen to not deal with me, I am attaching myself to them. They then do what they do. But if I don't support them, then I feel all of the things that I haven't addressed for myself that I've given to them as a representation to address are now going to be lost.
Interesting.
So I think that's why people get so up in arms about it, because it really it's like survival.
It's like a mirror of themselves, maybe. I don't know. I have very smart, very educated friends that I think go totally off the edge with their opinions on something. I'm always like, wow, did they look at the other side? Like, there's no discussion.
Yeah, there's no discussion.
They only see it their way. And I was actually thinking about this the other night. I told you I'm doing the Course of Miracles. And I was thinking about it the other night. And I was like, I'd love to get to that place where I didn't expand energy on anyone else. Like in a place where I can just listen and know and like my father was actually like that. He stated his opinion, backed it up a few times with facts, and never discussed it again. And whatever you believed, even as a kid, because as a teenager you fight everything. It was just like, you're entitled to that. It was never an argument. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, wow, I wish I could be like that.
Yeah, because arguments are have a fear to them. So arguments are based in fear. Yeah. So there's that.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And I brought it back to the self in the sense that I have put my identity or my, what it is that I value that I may not be working on for me. I may not be actually doing it for me. But I'm going to see it in another person. When I give my power like that, it becomes a very personal thing, because now if they don't succeed, I take that personally because I have failed in what it is that I wanted to achieve for myself through their failed representation or their failed execution of that idea that they represent, which is me. So there's a lot of connections that go on, and intelligence is not really what it's about at all.
Yeah,
intelligence doesn't mean anything here, because intelligence can just you can liars figure and figures lie. You know, people can always cherry pick out information to support whatever it is that they want. And particularly now with what's going on with the internet, there's a billion things out there that people can resource, and they can all make their own arguments. So whatever I'm attached to, I could find some evidence to say that this is what's true. I mean,
Absolutely.
it could be backed up a billion different ways.
Yeah.
And what is really important here isn't so much that external stuff, which is, which you can pick an idea, any idea that exists out there, is what's going on inside of me, what is going on in my heart, and really in asking myself, this is a personal inventory idea, am I really addressing my own sense of self? Am I really looking at me in an honest way? Am I really looking at am I accepting myself as I am? Am I addressing my issues responsibly internally or not? And if I'm really, maybe I have an addiction, or maybe there's some other kind of problem going on, and I'm not really looking at it, and all I want to do is blame somebody else and say, I don't want to look at me, I'm a mess, I want to look at them. And then I'm going to justify my existence or feel better by putting them down. Yeah. And so everything in that idea then, because it's a feeling of unhappiness, and particularly now, because I do think that more and more, again, just my point of view here, but more and more people are becoming aware of what really works for them, and sometimes it's not the kinds of consumer goods that they're not satisfying the same way. Having a lot of money means you have a lot to deal with. You become like a prisoner of all of your possessions. I think like hunting you down, like you owe this and you owe this. You need to take care of that. Make that. And people are, I think, becoming a little bit more conscious of how the real happiness is an inside job. It's not just driven by these external kinds of representations of what we would call success, that success is actually more complicated and deals with more of an internal feeling about whether or not who I am and what I do is something that I love. And so if my internal self is really, doing well, if I'm really being very successful inside, I don't have to prove anything by having a lot of fame or money or whatever to say, see, look, I really do matter.
I totally agree. Yeah. I think it's also like a thing of maturity. As I've gotten older, I don't care about stuff anymore. It doesn't matter. Like it's just I've come to this different place. So I don't need it. I don't care what people think. It doesn't matter to me. It's all your perceived reality anyway.
So true. And if you're going to get into that game, if that's really what you think it's about, well, then there's always that person who has more, and they have and then where does that go? And then if it's so that be the money part. If it's famous, there's always somebody else. If it's youth and attractiveness, there's always the younger person, right? So there's no way to win those games. They just make it bitter, angry. Go on.
Yeah, and that comes from ego. Competition comes from ego. That's your own inner work.
Yeah.
It has to be done.
Yeah, I have, there's one of the people that I follow, Jamie Butler, who is a medium in Atlanta, Georgia. She was at a big psychic event, one of those like wellness galas where there's tons and tons of different intuitives. And she's there with her crew and she's photographing them, and she goes, isn't it great that everybody's here? Like, isn't it great there's a space for all of us? In other words, not like, well, I'm a really successful blah, 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 and these people are, she's more, isn't this great? And it's true, because there's a different person for every kind of person out there looking to have some kind of reading or looking for that right medium or whatever. I love that. There's plenty of room for everybody.
That's where I come from. Yeah. This place of total abundance. And nobody can be me or you. Like,
exactly.
Your own brand. Even if someone copied exactly what I do or you do or any other company, it's not the same. It's never the same.
No. And one of the things,
doing it.
And that's such a big thing. Like, and a lot of times when, actually I'm working with clients, and they're all, you know, in a state of comparison. Well, it's just like, accept that this is who you are, and accept that that's who they are, and you won't be able to be them, and they're not going to be able to be you. And why would you want to be anything other than who you are anyway? Because how is that going to work? You know, like, what are you
without being authentic, it's not going to work.
Exactly.
When
it's
you
going to
copy
sound
someone else, it doesn't
weird.
work.
Yes.
Agreed. All right, we went off tangent, so I'm going to wrap it up. It was a good talk, though. If you love this talk, please share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channels. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can go to thenaturallife.org, contact us page, and you can send us a message. Thanks, Lee, for another fantastic program.
Thank you very much, Camille. My pleasure.